This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, welcome to Isha Training Solutions. I am Saravanan, who is going to take you through for this webinar session on Wireshark. Actually, many network engineers or some performance testers who already using this Wireshark as a packet capturing tool. Yeah, before that, I'll give you a little brief about this tool, Wireshark. Basically, Wireshark is a network sniffing tool. I know sniffing is nothing but you are taking the uh, you are sitting in the middle, and then you are trying to take the data, network data, which is going from one machine to the other. So basically, that is a sniffing that we are doing. Okay, so in this session, predominantly what I'm going to cover is that I'm going to cover the features that are available in Wireshark, and then finally I will show how packet captured in Wireshark and how that can be used in LoadRunner. So with that level, we'll see the webinar today. Okay. So I'll show you what is this network sniffing is all about. Okay, say an example. Okay, so usually when we are accessing from the browser, okay, say like whatever the browser you are accessing. Okay, usually what will happen, the request will go to a network interface card. Network interface card, basically NIC. Okay, and then that request will go to your data network. Okay, your data network. Usually this is how it is happening, right? Whatever you are giving, uh, it is going in this method. But when this thing is happening, this guy, man in the middle, Wireshark, will sit in the middle, will try to sniff the data which are coming. Okay, it is trying to sniff the data which are coming from the browser to the network interface card. Okay, so this is how Wireshark is working. So basically, where and all this Wireshark can be utilized, in a enterprise company. Okay, in an enterprise company, say a lot of people are accessing a particular network, so traffic can be measured, and then that traffic also, which is right, which is wrong, also you can measure it. Say what is the right traffic, what is the wrong traffic, is there any external attack is there in the network, DDoS attack, they will say DDoS attack, right? This DDoS attack and all is coming from the external site, or what, somebody is trying to hack your information, somebody is trying to get some important critical sensitive data from your website, or what. Those things and all can be sniffed and then monitored using this Wireshark. So Wireshark predominantly what will do, it will say in a particular device, say a Wi-Fi device or LAN connection, or whichever the way the communication is happening, it will try to sniff the data and store and show it to you. And with that data, you can easily read the data, like whether it is a TCP, whether it is a HTTP, or it may be a UDP. Lot of protocols are there, right? With that protocol understanding, you will get to know what is that really doing. Is that a real right data, or something is going wrong? What can be done? So that is how this Wireshark is designed. Okay, so you can go to the Google, type Wireshark download and then try to download it. Okay, while downloading, actually saying while downloading, it will ask the option, guys, whether you want to install the WinCap. This thing, you remember, it will ask if you want to install the WinCap. So that time you go with the default condition, try to install this WinCap driver actually. Okay, what is this WinCap? Is nothing but it is for the Windows OS. Okay, it is for the Windows OS that network capturing driver is installing. For other OS, you will have a thing called a libcap driver. Okay, this driver is for the other OS, wherein if you are installing it, that will do the purpose, that will do the network sniffing activity. Okay, so what will I do? Without wasting further time, I will launch the Wireshark. Okay, I am showing a little downgraded version of the Wireshark. If you go and install, say an example, I'll show that as well. See, the version that I am using now is version 3.0.2. There are other different versions are there. Okay, it is a middle version, and then one more version also. Yeah, 3.2.3 is the latest version. Okay, 3.2.3 is the latest version, but that version is not compatible with LoadRunner. That is the reason I downgraded this version 3.0.2, which is available in their archive file, Wireshark archive. If you go and see that, it will have all the versions that are available. But try to go to a little older version if it needs to be compatible with the a LoadRunner version. Actually, saying for LoadRunner 2020 itself, this version only supported. So if in future only you will get to know whether they are supporting the latest version of the Wireshark and all. So that is what. Say if you are that can be easily identified, guys. If you are preparing a packet capture in Wireshark, okay, and then if you are trying to open that packet capture file in VUgen, that time it will show you the if you are using the latest version of the Wireshark, it will tell you that version is supported is 3.0.2. Can you downgrade it like that? It will mention. So that in that way you can use the downgraded version of the Wireshark. So basically, this is Wireshark after I launched it. Okay, so the feature or the basic fundamental feature in this Wireshark is that, like, it will show you the all the network interfaces that are available in my machine. Okay, maybe I would have used some VM machines. I used some interfaces that will also get listed here. Along with that, my main connectivity, which is nothing but my Wi-Fi, because in that Wi-Fi only I'm connected. I'm taking this webinar. So the pulse signal, right, which is easily tell you which network interface is actually having a connection now established, and then how the data transferring is happening. Those things will be mentioned with this pulse. Okay, so what people will usually do, like, there are capture filters are there are display filters are there are two filters are there: capture filter and then display filter. Capture filter means while capturing itself what data you want to capture. Display filter is nothing but after capture what data you want to display. That is what the meaning of capture filter and the display filter. Say in our example, say an example, I don't want to filter any data. I don't want to filter any data. Still, I want to see what is happening. Okay. That time, what I'm doing, I'm double clicking this Wi-Fi. Maybe if I double click it also, it will go to the same page. Or you have an option to go here under options. You can uncheck all the other things. You can uncheck all the other things, which because we don't want to have those things. I want to get that traffic only from what? my Wi-Fi connection where that real traffic is happening, right? I have an option to do that. Okay, straight away I'm clicking the start option. So what will happen? Whatever the network activity which is currently happening in this Wi-Fi network connectivity, it will try to show you. I'll also repeat again. Say if you want to stop it, you can still stop it. Okay, there is no packet capture. Yeah, it is obvious. Okay, stop buttons are here. You can start the capture, stop the capture. Okay, I'm going here again. I'm showing you under options. Under this Wi-Fi connections only, I want to do the capture. So that is the reason I showed you start capture. Now you can see the data which are flowing in, which means that as of now we are talking, right? I connected to this GoToMeeting. I'm doing certain activity, right? So it is still trying to capture the data, different data which are happening in this Wi-Fi thing, because my mobile also connected in this network only. My laptop also connected in this network only. But through that, whatever the actions that are happening, it will try to take the data. It will try to take the data. Say an example. Mm, I am going to my command prompt. Okay, I'm going to my command prompt. I'm saying ping 8088.8.8.8. Okay, which is a public address of Google site. So what I'm doing, I'm just pinging. Usually we will ping, right? We will ping and check like whether that thing is reachable or what. Okay, so if you are going here, we can see like you can see the ping that I did. I ping Google public address, right? That traffic will be here. The traffic will be available here. You can check the data related to that. There are different things are there, guys. In actually, this is a wonderful feature available in Wireshark. Say if I type something wrong, it will say red color. If I type something right only, it will tell me the green color one, and with that you can easily understand whatever we are typing is right. Okay, so in my case what I am doing, IP address, which is nothing but I pinged certain things. That is the reason I selected this option. So what is the thing we are doing? Under the command prompt, I pinged 8.8.8.8, which means that I'm trying to connect to the network. So what my Wi-Fi is doing, it is taking the data and it is actually capturing here. There is a packet capture has happened here, and it is showing you here. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. So whatever the network interactivity, network activity is happening, the Wireshark will try to take the data. The Wireshark will it sit in the middle. It is a man in the middle. It will try to take the request, the response, all those detail. It will try to capture it. Okay, say an example. Say an example. I'm going to the, I'll maybe start the capture again. I'm going to the browser. I'm going to the browser. Say I want to clear the history and all.
Hey, Srinivas, one question here, Harsh here. Here, here we are using the Windows platform, right? In case of a Linux server, right? Like we cannot see the traffic, right? Like we connect to the Wireshark port and then we can see the traffic. Like in Windows, like if it's a web-based, when we open the URL, that traffic we can see on the screen. But if it is a remote server, Like, is there is a way like we can see it there?
Yeah, we can see, no? See, if you go to the just if you go to the uh, s- uh, your machine, Linux machine, if it is connected to your what the same network, that network only will do the data sniffing. Okay, that way you can capture the data. Say you are doing some activity from that server, which is actually connected to a router. That router is nothing but your network device. If that is happening over there, you can take the data. Still possible. Clear? Is it who asked this question? I don't know. Say what is happening when you are logging into any of the machine. Okay, in that machine you are trying to access the network. That network will be the point of contact for all the other thing. From source to destination you are invoking something, the data will be captured in the Wireshark. Clear?
Actually, normally on a VPN, kind of like if we are connecting to a like we are connecting to the customer network via VPN, so does it
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, that Wireshark should be hosted on a Citrix or like how will, like if it is like 10 servers, right? I need to monitor the traffic on the 10 servers if it are distributed architecture. Then in that case, do we have to connect individually, or there is a way like you can connect through all the kind of like
No. You don't want to
um,
connect individually and all. It is a one network. One network where this actually this Wireshark is there, right? Whatever the interconnectivity, it will do that. But VPN, what the term VPN you used, right? There is a secure connection you have to establish. Then only you can see the data. Say even there is an option here. Just a minute. I'll stop this and then I'll show you. There is a promiscuous mode is there, right? Promiscuous mode. This promiscuous mode is nothing but you can uh, read all the data. Actually, some places, some blogs or some places, if you read about promiscuous, they are saying it is not legal when you are not getting the proper permission to enable this. But since it is my local machine, I enabled it, and by default it will be enabled only. But I'm saying, but since it is my local machine, I enabled it. In your case, if you are doing the VPN connectivity and all, that time you need to get a proper permission before doing the sniffing of the data.
okay,
Clear?
okay. So you say like if I say for a VPN, if it is a secured connection, yeah, I got that point. And even it's a completely HTTPS secured one on a cloud platform, AWS. So they're like if I am like if I have enabled the Wireshark to all the to the entire network, but that network have 10 servers. So is it on the network based I have to do my analysis, or because here I'm seeing the traffic where I'm running the load, right? I'm monitoring the individual server performance, right? So if I am looking at the network level, then how I will do my analysis, right? Because we are measuring the performance on the individual server wise, right? What is the traffic or how is the performance for the application or the web server that is happening here?
That is what the see, Harsh, the thing is very clear. Will you use single network connection in your organization? Each one will have one network connection.
I will have a master and I will have a slave, kind of a agent base, like in Dynatrace, like we have, right? Like master slave
No.
architecture.
Internet. I'm saying internet will have like that.
Internet will not have, but
That's what.
how I will, yeah, if I'm
Yeah,
monitoring the network, but at individual server level, how I will like and measure the performance, right? This
that.
tool is only for checking the traffic only, like.
Yeah. Correct, Harsha. Yeah, I'm with you. Network, common network, which will capture 100 IP, 200 IP, whatever. That 200 IP can be filtered here, source IP or destination IP. You are going to filter it, specifically going to understand it. That is what. I told you, right, the capture filter or the display filter. While capture filter itself, if you are giving the IP address, that time that IP address data only will be captured by the Wireshark. Clear?
Okay, actually, because normally when we do the network testing, right, we do the monitoring. So we generate the PCAPs file, like in network telecom, there is assurance domain where we take the dumps of the PCAP files, and once the dumps are captured, then we see the traffic is it's routed to a particular network or not, if the connection is happening. Or you can use any protocol also, like a CORBA or SMTP protocol, like they normally use like for this.
Yeah. See, here also there is an option to capture the packet PCAP file, whatever you are saying. PCAP file is there. Okay, you can capture it. You can. That is what. With that only, I told you we are going to open it in load runner, right? We are going to
Hello?
show that. We are going to show that. What I'm saying, you have 100 machine connected to a hub. Okay, that hub you are saying in this case we are connected with that network, even the Wireshark. It will take the traffic from the different source and the destination. Source is ours, destination is from different machine. As you requested, you are going to have a single IP address to be filtered to see the performance, not the performance, I would say, see the data that are transferred between the destination machine. We can do that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll take the questions later. Maybe we'll try to cover the agenda, and then in the end we'll try to take the question. Okay.
Okay.
Ramaraju. Actually, it is true. It is a freeware application. It is a open source freeware application. Okay. Yeah.
Salman, have you started the recording? Just a second.
Yeah, started, Mohammed. It is started. Yeah. Okay. So what I showed you an option wherein you can set that particular network interface. I'm starting this. Okay, continue with that saving. And then going to the browser, I want to clear the data, whichever the stored data, the history and all. And then I cleared all the browsing data. Okay, now if I go here, my network capturing is actually started here. I want to click this website and then see if there is a data coming. Just a minute. Did I change anything while speaking with you? This is the default one. See, I think if there is a problem with the connection, only thing that we usually check is that your admin rights. Okay, Wireshark has to be start with the run as admin mode. So what will I do? I go back again, right click, run as admin. Yeah, we'll check this. Yeah, now the traffic is happening. I'll stop here. I'll go to the options, check the default conditions, starting this. Okay, I want to go here say I'm pasting that website and then clicking this. Yeah, say I'm clicking some link from this, and then I'm going back again. I'm clicking some link from this, clicking some link from this, some link from this. So that is how I'm simply creating a request here. If I'm stopping here, say if I type HTTP, see whatever this list, this is actually a intelligence list. Okay, so if I type it, usually it will show you whatever the things that are available already. Say in my case, if I click this, whatever the things that are going from my machine to my machine is a source in this case, right? What are the things that are going from my machine to that destination machine? I can easily filter it out, and then I can see the data that are going. Okay, that is easily possible. So if you can see whatever I'm launching it here, I can easily see, filter the data which are coming. Initially I showed you a ping, just a single ping. I showed you the network data. Now if you are using it in the browser, it will show you the network data. That is what I'm trying to explain. Okay, say I will show you here under the help menu. There is a thing called sample captures. Okay, sample captures. Say an example, these are the different capture files are already available. They people are they want to learn something, means what they will do, they'll come here, they will take the respective sample capture file and they'll try to understand it. Okay, that is what they kept this, which means that sample captures, already captured files are there. It is of different formats, different format, in the sense different data communication captures. Say in our example, usually what we will do, we usually learn about HTTP things, right? So example, yeah, this is a HTTP hypertext transfer protocol example. Here you can see there is a HTTP cap file is there. If you can click on this, what it will do, it will download. Okay, it will download. Say in my case, I am putting it inside the Wireshark folder itself. Okay, I this is a file. Okay, this is a HTTP file. You have an option in Wireshark, say file open. Okay, file open, and then go to the folder where I kept that file. Yeah, this is actually the sample file that they are having. Okay, sample file for HTTP. I'll show you again. You can load it from your machine. Okay, so this is a sample file. You can see all these protocols are happened in where? HTTP. They kept a HTTP file here. So predominantly this HTTP communication, people will get the confusion with what is HTTP and what is TCP. Okay, what is HTTP and what is TCP? Just a minute. Say here there is a thing called transmission control protocol, there is a thing called hypertext transfer protocol. So people will always have that confusion, what is this HTTP and what is this TCP? Okay, so I'll explain in simple words. HTTP is not say HTTP is nothing but what type of data. Okay, HTTP is nothing but what type of data and what format. Okay, even you can say how to send the data. All these informations are available under HTTP. Say an example, you are trying to give one GET request to take some data, or you are saying in this format only it will be there, how we are going to send the data, all those informations and all available inside HTTP. Okay, TCP is nothing but it is a connection. Say an example, how to connect, how long you want to connect. Even there is a connection between one machine to the other. There is a TCP connection establishment should be there, and then further request will be this HTTP, because once a connection established, this HTTP will request the data. That is how it usually works. First, initially there will be a connection establishment between the servers or the machines. Okay, and then only this HTTP will be happening. In the meantime, I think you guys should know what is TCP three-way handshaking. Okay, say there is one machine, there is another machine. Okay, these two has to do the communication. Okay, these two machine has to do the communication. So how it will happen? Usually, first of all, what will happen? The machine one will say, I am going to establish a connection with you. I am going to establish a connection with you. It will send a call named synchronization call. It will say, the one machine number one will say, boss, I'm going to have a connection with you. Okay, the machine two has to understand this synchronization call, and it has to give back the acknowledgement, right? So what it will say, okay, you can do a connection establishment with me, you can proceed with your activity. Like that, it will say sync acknowledge. It will say synchronization acknowledge, ACK. Okay, then finally this source machine, what it will say, okay, I acknowledged, so that I am going to have a connection with you. That is called as ACK. That is called as ACK. So what is that meaning? Three-way handshake. For network engineer and all, they will ask this as a interview question, but I'm saying there is a three-way handshake. What is that? First, I'm saying synchronization, and then what I'm saying, you are giving me acknowledgement. Okay, you have a synchronization with me. I received that synchronization acknowledgement. I'm sending you acknowledge. So this is how three-way handshake is happening in TCP. Actually saying, after this handshake only the further communication is happening. I told you, right? This HTTP communication is also happening right after that. Okay, say if I go just a minute. I'll go and start the traffic recording. Okay, so now again I'm going to give the same website. Just a minute. I'll open it in the incognito window maybe, because it is trying to take it from the browser cache itself. That is the reason I'm doing this. Usually, that is the reason in the initial part also I open it from the yeah. Now it is actually doing the HTTP request. You are able to see, right? Since I'm using an incognito window.
So this is how initial TCP things will be happening. Initial TCP handshaking will be happening, and then your subsequent HTTP requests are happening. Okay, so what will I do? This is a TCP connection, and then there is a HTTP connection, and then further TCP connection for further HTTP connection. This is how the actual procedure is there. The actual procedure is it will do the TCP and then it will do the HTTP and then further communications are happening. Say an example, I want to show you one more thing. I'll close this instance. Okay, I'll close this instance. What will I do? I'll go back. I'll open this Wireshark. Right click, run as admin. Okay, as we speak, I am sorry, I clicked wrongly. Wi-Fi. So there are, while speaking, I'm speaking with you guys. I'm speaking in this GoToMeeting. There are a lot of communications are happening because I connected to this Wi-Fi network wherein communication is happening, right? So what I can do, I can go here. I can say like UDP. Okay, UDP. Say I'll stop for now. Also, I am saying like UDP. These are the UDP connections are happening, right? Say source and the destination. Maybe what will I do? I'll go to command prompt CMD and then I say IP config. Okay, you can see this IP address, right? This 192.168.29.20, which is here in the destination, or else you can see in the source also, because communication is happening from back and forth, right? That is the reason. Say an example, if I take this 170 just a minute, 173.199.16.245. Okay, I'll copy this maybe. Okay, I'll copy this. What I can do, okay, what is my IP? Okay, there are websites are there, guys. Okay, you can go there. You can go there. Or else it not this site maybe. We'll take this as well. Okay. Yeah. Say if I give any IP address here and then look up. Okay, somebody from this forum, those who are currently joined in this class, right? Somebody is from Boston, and their state is Massachusetts, and their country code is this, their postal code is this, their ISP is this. Somebody joined this call, right? For this webinar, their ISP is this detail. I don't know who, but their connection is established here. So what I am doing from my source machine, there is a connection established between the receiver machine, and their details can be pulled in. The entire detail can be pulled in. Now we can understand it how useful this one, right? Like who actually accessing my network, I can easily understand it, and then I can also identify it is a good traffic or bad traffic, or are they trying to do something else or what. All those things can be done using this Wireshark. So you only thing what you are doing, you are filtering the data. In my case, I want to see the voice call communication, so that is the reason I filtered the UDP calls. Okay, UDP calls, and then see this. Now you can easily recollect. There is a phone call threatening and all coming, right? There is a phone threatening calls are coming. What they will do, they can easily find the UDP of their session where that communication happened. they'll easily find the ISP of that particular person, right? I don't know. Somebody from this forum is actually joined from United States of America, Massachusetts, Boston City. For their detail only, it is populating. Like that, if you could go with a different UDP destination address, then I can understand there are 50 people joined in this forum, right? 49. Okay, so I can easily identify each one of you using this UDP port number, that ISP details and all. I can easily identify. Basically, this is the purpose this Wireshark tool is using. Harshvard, actually, your question will be resolved now. You can see here multiple people connected to the same network. So I'm able to see the data from here itself. It is not that all the machine I did not go and see the data. In the single network connectivity, I was able to gather the metric, this ISP details and those stuffs, right? That is what I'm trying to say you. If you all are connected to a same machine, same place, so it is easy for the network engineer to identify where you are actually doing what you are doing, what website you are accessing. All those information, they can easily validate it. Clear? And then this is about the connectivity. Okay, say if I go here, HTTP request, any HTTP request available? No, in this communication we are not doing any HTTP communication. So in order to show you the detail, what I can do, I'll open the previous HTTP one itself. Yeah, so usually if there is a HTTP request is there, means how people will understand, I'll show you. Say you select a particular request, right click, okay, follow HTTP stream. If you click that, actually whatever there in the HTML file, you can see it here, guys. Okay, the communication I'm saying, okay, HTTP communication is happening, right? That HTTP communication, whatever is there, you can see it here. This is a request which is in different color, and this is a response which is in different color. So if you scroll down, the entire detail is available here, guys. Okay, the entire detail is available here. Okay, Harshwar, you told, right, you have a VPN connectivity, which is a tunnel based one. That time you cannot see any data here because it is a tunnel activity, so it will all encrypted, you cannot see the data. Here it is not a tunnel one, it is just a plain HTTP request. So that is the reason we are able to see the request and the response detail and all. As you told, right, it is a tunnel activity. That time this HTTP stream cannot be validated, but still you can see the frames, chunks of information which are going back and forth. That information you can still understand it using this TCP or HTTP stream. Basically what for this is used, sometimes there are people are doing the communication. That time what you can do, you can sniff the data, and then you can see what data they are actually doing. Actually in organization and all, they'll put filter for certain network sites. I hope people will not reach certain websites in the organization premises. So it will all done using this sniffing concept only. They will actually sniff whatever the domain that you are trying to reach it, and they will try to block certain things for your reach. That is how they are understanding. So basically what is happening here, you are trying to understand what is a HTTP communication is really happening, where you can easily understand what is a request, what is a response, each and everything which are available here. No, you can go through, each and everything. Like this, if you scroll up, whichever the HTTP requests are there, no, you can go through that. Okay, so next, HTTP request we understood. I told you there is a three-way handshake is there in the TCP. I told you, right? You can see prior to this HTTP request, you can see three requests are there. One is, you can see if I select it, it is a SYN. It is a SYN. Next call is SYN acknowledge. Third call is acknowledge. Somebody is talking. Okay.
Hey,
So
this is Manjay here. Adding to the Arsha's question, right? What was Harsha's question? Sorry, is it audible?
Yeah.
So what I was about to ask is, like for example, as you told, from the browser to the before the web server or app server or a database, right? Think that we have 3 servers, and the network card or a network before network reaching NIC, you will be putting this Wireshark. So what Arsha's questions was something like, okay, when you try to hit the you will get all these tracks, but will we identify whether there is a network between the web server and app server there is a issue, or app server to DB there is a issue, or post DB or any third party system? That is what the question meant. I think if there is any issue in where exactly the issue lies in the network, maybe because all this in a single network, but maybe exactly where which communication between which servers there was a issue.
No, that cannot be done, right? It is a network capturing tool. That's all. It is a network establishment between one machine to the other machine. Whatever you are asking is from the APM tool level, application performance monitoring tool level. That here it will not be possible. But only thing you can do, what you can do, in this case, you can restrict your focus between two machines, and then you can find if you want to really debug. I'm saying, if you want to go in detail, you have a focus restriction between two machines. With that machine level understanding, you can do your investigation. That can be done. But this sniffing tool is actually giving you a details about whatever the data is communicating. Okay, it will not give you the whatever you are saying, right? Virtualized network, or in this location how it is happening, between this location how it is happening. No, that level of information will not be there here.
Okay,
So
okay,
it will
because
give
I'll
the
tell you a scenario. Oh, sorry. I'll tell you a scenario where telling like and from the app side there was good. There is no issue from the app server side, because when you go through any as you told, the APM tool, the response time is good. But from the load runner, if you are seeing some high response time, so then they will come to know either there may be a issue with the web server or a network issue. So how will you track this using this tool? Those things, can we do that?
We can get the details. Okay, say under statistics, under okay, there is a graph is available to see the round trip time of the your packets. Okay, this can be done. Okay, but they say they are saying from this machine to this machine. Okay, from this machine to this machine, what is really happening in the round trip level? You can get it, but you are saying like multi-level, multi-point level, right? That time maybe it is little questionable, but in a single point-to-point level, I think you can do it.
Yeah, just a question. Suppose my application layer is there, and there is, after that service layer is existing, and one request is going from like application level layer is connecting to service layer. Okay, then can we capture that?
Application layer to service layer, is there a network connectivity is there, means yeah. If both are in the same machine itself, then it is questionable. If it is a different machine altogether, and there is a network connectivity is happening between that, it will do truly. In your case, it is there.
Yes, like my request is going from browser to web server, then application server, then service layer.
Yeah.
So
then
can we capture whatever the connection?
Yeah, you can
whatever
do
the connection is getting established. Okay, that I can see in the console, right? In Wireshark.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that.
Hello. Hi. This is Prakash. I have one query.
Yeah, please.
Yes. So that query is related to how can I implement.
Just a minute, guys. I have little few topics to cover. Can we all put your question at the end so that we'll complete it and take all your questions at a time? Fine for you guys?
That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. So we'll complete this entire thing. Then I'll take all your questions. Okay. Say statistics. Okay. You can go to the TCP stream graphs. All these are graphs that are available. Say you want to see the throughput, you want to see the round trip time, all those things are available. Whatever people are asking, right? Something related to performance, you can use that TCP stream graphs. Under statistics, it is available. Okay. Say you can go to HTTP request. Here also you can see request level details. Whatever the say there is a HTML thing is requested, and then a further call is requested. Those information also can be checked here. Say people are asking like how this communication is happening and all, right? That information also be checked here. Say if you are say I explained in the middle, sorry I missed it. Sin acknowledge and acknowledge. You can see just before the HTTP call, the TCP calls are happening. Sin acknowledge and acknowledge. All these strings are positive only. Your HTTP communication is actually able to do, right? Say if you want me to show sin means what is happening inside. If you are going here inside that, under the flag, if you go, rest all will be not set. Only sin will be set to 1. Sin. Okay. Similarly, if I go to the next request, here sin and acknowledge are set. Okay. Sin and acknowledge are set. Third one, if I go here only acknowledge is set. So what is that meaning? If once one machine is requesting a handshake, it is saying, yeah, I want to have a connection with you. The second machine is saying, okay, you can have a connection with me. Then the third time it is saying, okay, I'm going to have connection, and then further things can be done. That is what is happening here in this sin acknowledge and acknowledge. And then only your further HTTP communication is happening. That also you can validate here. So you can, in the below, you can see HTTP. If you expand that, all the HTTP related information will be there, which means that HTTP call download.html is a HTTP call, which is actually triggered. And then what is the get call information, which host, all those informations are available here. So as our understanding, what is it saying? There is a TCP request is triggered, has to be properly handshaked, and then it has to go to the HTTP request. And there are, prior to that, there will be a IPv4, which means that what is that communication we are really doing? What is the destination? Which means that in which destination I am going to have the connection establishment. Say this is a source, this is a destination, where the destination is going to happen. That is what the IPv4. In our case, we are using IPv4. So that, and then Ethernet card, which means that in which Ethernet card I am doing the communication. Which usually when there is a destination thing you are trying to access it, it will go via what? MAC address. Okay, it will not use the IP address and all. It will use the MAC address, and then it will do the communication. And then there is a frame details are available, which means that what is that information which we are communicating over the wire or over the Wi-Fi or over the device, whatever you are saying. If it is optical cable, it will go by pulse. If it is a Wi-Fi, it will go by radio waves. Like that, these frames are actually working. Here only people will say software is becoming real. When this is in frames only, they are calling it as software is becoming real. The data is becoming real. So predominantly these are the arrangements. Frame will be there, and then the Ethernet information will be there. IPv4 information will be IPv4 or 6, and then the TCP information will be there, and then HTTP information will be there. Through this only we can understand how the request is actually traversing. If there is any reset information in the middle, guys, okay, RST, the thing will be there as RST. It will be there in red color also. Okay, so if there is a RST request is coming when you are doing any kind of a communication, that time what will happen? It is showing you that there is a problem there is a problem with your network condition. Someone is trying to hacking, or someone is trying to do hit your website or some network or something like that, it will show it as RST, reset. And also there is a concept called sequence number. Okay, there is a concept called sequence number and acknowledgement number. Usually the sequence number is nothing but when there is a length of information is going, means there you can see there is a 479 length is going, right? Which means that, say an example, I will select this particular call, this particular, just a minute, I'll go to the home, I will explain you like this. Okay, sequence number is 1, guys. Okay, sequence number is 1, and we are able to see there is length of information that is going. Length of information is packet of information. Okay, packet of information is going is 479. What is happening in the next sequence number, which means that when there is a next communication is happening from the source to destination, what will happen, it will add the length, and that will be the sequence number for the next communication. You can see the next communication number is what, 479 plus 1, it is 480. Okay, if I keep on going like this, guys, if I keep on going like this, next time if there is a here, if there is a data, so what it is doing, it will try to add this number with the sequence number, and it will create the next sequence number. So if the sequence number is, there is a mismatch, if there is a sequence number mismatch, what is that happening, that term is called packet loss, drop packets. Okay, if there is a sequence number mismatch is happening, that is called as packet loss. That time you can easily understand, over the network, over your internet, some packet is lost, so there is a concept called retransmission will be happening, guys. Okay, there is a concept called retransmission will be happening. What is that retransmission? If you are say if you are doing some communication over the network, sometimes if your data is not properly reaching from the source to destination, that time what you have to do, that packet loss is there, right? That lost packets, what you can do, you can send again, the lost packets you can send again through the concept called retransmission. There is a threshold values and all there for retransmission. If the for retransmission should not be more than 0.5% for LAN, 0.5%. Okay, and then it should not be more for some cloud based network. Okay, it should not be more for 2%. If the retransmission rate is more than this, then there is a problem with your network. That time only your debugging is starting, guys. Okay, your debugging is starting based on what, your retransmission rate is too high. Okay, so basically these are all the critical things. And then finally what you can do, you do a HTTP communication, guys. You keep on doing a HTTP communication here, and what you can do while doing that HTTP communication, you go to the output folder, give the path anywhere, and then take the data. Like for now it is wireshark dot pcap. Like that you can create a file, guys. Okay, you can create a file, and then you start your the communication. You do the business functionality, whatever you are trying to do, right? Like say your organization application, you want to launch it, or web services that you want to test it. Okay, those HTTP communication you can basically perform. What will happen, it will try to capture the HTTP communication which is actually happening, because this is a network sniffing tool, right? So you can do that communication, and then finally if you are done with all your network connectivity things, these that whatever you want to do in the network, right? That communication and all, once you are completed, you can stop the what I can say, you can stop the communication. Okay, and then if you go to that path where you stored that HTTP request, see you can see it is directly changed to load runner icon, because load runner is having the option to change the pk file into what, you can change the pk file into your vgin script itself. So if you could open that, what it will do a packet capturing network traffic, But only thing there is a problem will come for everyone is that you will not have access to that website. It is not that anyone can throttle any application traffic can be captured or what. No, that is nowhere possible. Then in the entire world people will use only Wireshark as a tool, because it is actually capturing the traffic, right? So it will not actually do the purpose. Only thing is you should have a SSL details. Okay, you will have these details where PK file will be there. What is a client side filter is your IP address, but this details you have to pass in, guys. Your IP address, port, SSL activity, right? If you are passing that, then you are doing the start recording, it will actually create the your HTTP HTML script itself in Vusion. HTTP HTML script, so that what you can do, you can straight away replay the script to do your purpose. So this will be very, very useful when your application is unable to capture the traffic. For now, it is not capture any steps, because that website and all, we don't have SSL activity. You don't have SSL to be created. Say it is like you think it like website user you are passing, right? Either you think like website user you are passing, or else this option. What is that option? I will show you. Your socket level or WinNet level, right? Port mapping filter. This is what is all about. You are filtering the SSL based on that. You are going to give it. So when you are trying to use this in your premises, what you can do, you do a packet capture, and then if you are giving the proper authenticated detail, you will have a HTTP request will be captured. So when this will be useful, many people, when they are start capturing the application, that time if your HTTP HTML or the URL mode is not actually capturing your file, there is an option. We usually use what tool? Fiddler we use. You can also use Wireshark. Fiddler, people first preference people will go with Fiddler only, right? So you can use the Fiddler, and also you can use what? You can use the Wireshark to capture your traffic. Only thing is you need to have a proper SSL details. You can capture your details, and then that's all about our Wireshark. I'm opening for the Q&A session. You can ask your question, guys.
Which SSL details need to mention here? I'm not getting properly.
No, you can explain your question first. What is that?
Just need to enter the SSL detail to capture the full traffic, right? For recording.
Yeah.
So
usually
details,
that
what
application
kind of
detail. Application details only. Say when you are doing the website user, I don't know, you are working in LoadRunner.
Right.
Working in LoadRunner.
Yes.
Yeah, in LoadRunner we usually do what? Either you will use proxy detail or SSL detail if there is no communication is happening, right? What is the data if your website socket option is not working? What will you do? You will add the website user, right? In that detail, what are the information that you will pass? That detail you can pass it here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded.
So, can you tell me your question, Mohammed Afaq? Fiddler can create its own SSL certificate to the browser. No, see, Mohammed, actually, the question from the question from see, Mohammed Afaq, the question from Mayank is different. For his case only, I told you to install the certificates and all. By normal, you don't want to install the certificates and all. By normal, whatever the HTTP port in which it is communicating, it will do the purpose. Okay. If it is not captured, that time only I mention it, like you can use this certificate options and all. Okay, don't think like always we will use this option or what. No. It is all case to case, Mohammed Afaq. Did I answer your question, Afaq? I think you're still not talking. Okay, no problem, Afaq. If we still have question, you reach out to me. Guys, you note down my number. Maybe if you have any question, please reach out to me. If you have any questions related to Wireshark or not only Wireshark. See, I know tools like LoadRunner, JMeter, NeoLoad, Performance Center, Dynatrace, and AppDynamics. So if you guys have any question related to that, also you can reach out to me. Only thing is, based on my bandwidth, I'll try to answer to you guys. Okay, it is not that easy handling all the questions, handling all the things, but it is like a knowledge sharing. Whatever I'm knowing, I'm going to share with you. In some case, you people will know very good understanding of the tool. You can also share the best practices that you are. It is all knowledge sharing that we are doing. It is not that everyone knows everything in the world, right? What we will do, it is a mutual sharing of information. Whatever I know, it is not that I am the guru in Wireshark. Also, sometimes if I am missing one or two information, it is good that I can go back, learn, and come and explain to you. That is nowhere harm for me, right? So you put forth all your questions. I'll try to answer all your questions. If something is I don't know or I never heard of, definitely I'll take that question as an action item. I'll go back and then I will come up with the solution. Definitely we can do that, guys. Okay, fine for you guys?
One last question, sorry.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like we have to check the length and the sequence number and the next sequence number to check whether there are packet loss or not. So if we have lots of requests, then it will be very hectic to find the packet loss. So is there any direct way that Wireshark will tell you whether there are any packet loss?
Wireshark will not directly tell you. Your name is mentioned as Lenovo here. Sorry, I don't know your
Sagar here. Sorry.
Sagar. Yeah, Sagar. So usually it will not directly give you. See, any tool, you think about any tool in the industry, it is up to the knowledge of the performance tester or the person who is accessing the tool only will get that issue, right? Same way in Wireshark also, you are giving that, you are applying your knowledge, saying like sequence number should be like this. It is not there. So what did you do? It is a packet loss. Then you are going to understand certain things. Okay. And the class beginning, somebody asked this question related to Linux, right? You guys can see the installation of the Wireshark here. I think if somebody is interested also, just a minute, maybe we'll go with their official site also. Okay, you can download from here. I'll paste it in the chat, guys. Okay, you guys can take it. You can take this, and you can take this link also. Somebody if really interested that they want to have it in the Linux environment monitoring and all, you can use it. But predominantly, is it asked by whom? Harshavardhan, I think. Harshavardhan only asked this question initially, this Linux question. Okay, you can take this as a content. You go through it. If you still have any questions, please reach out to me. I gave my number. This is also for CentOS and Linux machine. You have it. These are value add things that are available, so you can take it, guys. Thanks for joining this session. I had a wonderful interaction with you people. You gave us a lot of eye-opening questions, a lot of informative and interesting questions that you guys shared. We hope that we will have similar kind of interaction in the near future. We'll have different topics to be discussed. Not only this Wireshark, we'll have interactions related to LoadRunner, JMeter, NeoLoad, Performance Center, even at AppDynamics, Dynatrace, performance engineering. Whatever the things you want to have a discussion, we'll have it in the near future. We'll have this similar kind of technical sessions in a periodic way, guys. Okay. Yeah, Amar, you will get the recording session, Amar. You will get that. Okay. Thanks again. Thanks for joining, and have a nice day, guys. Yeah, bye bye.
Thanks a lot. It was a great session.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all for joining. Thank you all for On the weekend also, you came with this hunger of learning something new. I hope I fulfilled all your thirst, hunger. So we'll regroup like this for similar kind of a knowledge sharing in the near future. Thank you all. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Saravanan. Thanks.